We're on page 353. Yedid nefesh harachamam nishotcha medecha eretzonecha yaru etzapecha
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos.
Welcome to Congregation Emanu-El. Before we begin, this is my first service I get to lead without a mask because we've shifted the policies that the service leader can take their mask off now. We're going to ask everyone here to keep their mask on. We've all been vaccinated and tested. And as we are moving through tonight, we are beginning on the page numbers outside of the brackets. And before we begin, before we move into Shabbat, because we're not technically in Shabbat yet, not until we light the candles, so we can kind of get our final work out of the way till our entire job is just to be in that time. And so what I would like you to do, because I could not do this very much when we were online just staring at a camera, is I would like you to turn to someone you do not yet know, introduce yourself, and to please tell them, before we get to Shabbat, what you hope to get out of this Shabbat. I'm going to give you 1 minute. If you are online, because I know a lot of you are online, if you will put in the chat what your hopes are, kind of to set your agenda and your curriculum for the next 25 hours. I would now like to invite up Willa Cook and her family to light our Shabbat candles. And if you're following along, we are on page 2. We're on page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher Kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And we continue now and we turn to page 20 as we move into the Chadodi, which the Kabbalists, they put this in here. And when we were imagining and setting that curriculum for ourselves of where do I need to get to in the next 25 hours, this is when we're trying to elevate ourselves. We're imagining as if time is a bride walking into the room. We're on page 20.
Lecha dodi וכל בניך עם כל הברכה לראש מקדם לסוך הסוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה יאי לך דודי לקראת קלה הנה שבת נקבלה אוי 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 התעוררי בהורה ומאורי אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה יאי לך דודי לקראת קלה הנה שבת נקבלה בואי בשלום תרד בעלה גם בשמחה ובתולה תוך אמונה המסגולה אוי חלה בואי חלה איי איי לך דודי לקראת הלאה פני שמה תקבלה איי איי לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה איי 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 פני שבת נקבלה.
Page 24 for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Asharet Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Boachem l'shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu
rise and turn to page 28 as we move into the Baruch. Please be seated, and please join me in the English on the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, for whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night, as heaven spans to infinity. You set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows.
ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המריב הרבי. Page 32. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. משפטים אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכננו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. Page 36. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
On page 40, we turn to the Micha-Mocha. And this is it's a section of the Torah that most rabbis generally focus on the miracle of what occurs. But Rabbi Jonathan, he teaches us to look at this differently. Because this is, if you think about where this is placed in the story, we just come out of this place of trauma in Egypt. We think it's over. And then there's another trauma because the Egyptians are coming to get us and we're stuck in front of water. And what Rabbi Jonathan, he points out time and again, which is so important, is that even in all of that chaos, this is about joy. And so there's actually this moment swirling inside of there where you can still smell and taste and realize the moment that you get to be in. And living in these times where we all remember when COVID ended in June, and then it didn't really end, and the chaos seems to just kind of continue. This Micha-Mocha, that teaching, is there for us to take inside of us, to take a moment and just realize how lucky we are and the joy that we do have. We're on page 40.
Micha-Mocha, vaylim Adonai, Micha-Mocha, nedar v'kodesh, Norah, Zehilot, Oseh, Peleh, Norah, Zehilot, Oseh, Peleh, Malchutecha, Ra'uvanecha, Okei Hayam Livnei Moshe Miriam Zeli, Anu ve'amru, Anu ve'amru, Adonai, Yimlo, Leolam, Vahed, Adonai, Yimlo, Leolam, Vahed, Yai, Lai, Yai, Lai, Lai, Hai, 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 אחד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל.
We reach the point in our service where we say the Mishaberach, the blessing for those who are in need of healing, either of body or of spirit. As a congregation, we are praying for Frank Friedman, Rusty Holden, Lauren Knickerbocker, Marilyn Brenner, Trey Graves, Trudy Selman, Irma Castillo, Tivona Bott-Miriam, Carolyn Brown, Miriam Friedman Zinn, Christine Yee, Harnett Sethi, Nancy Jackson, Monica Lowenthal, Dennis Parton, Micah Goldsmith, Lauren Van Horn, Nancy Frank, and Lou Aronow. If there's someone else who you are praying for, if you'll please share their name when my hand passes over you. Mishaberach Avotenu V'Imotenu, Avraham Yitzhak V'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah, Hu Yivarech et Acholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and a complete renewal of spirit. And let us all say, Amen.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor habracha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, a renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We're on page 42 with the Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha.
Please rise and turn to page 46 for the Amidah.
Adonai Svatai Tiftach Adonai Svatai Tiftach Ufi Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotzeinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem Le'ma'an Shemo B'Yahava Melech Chozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Ata Rav Le'Hoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechakel Chayim B'Chesed Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim U'Matir Hasurim U'Mekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot U'Mido Melach Melech Memit U'Mechayeh U'Matzmiach Yeshua V'Ne'eman Ata L'Hachayot HaKol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Ata Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kdoshim B'chol Yom Yahalelucha Selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please continue silently, and when you have finished, please be seated.
ושלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל
I grew up in the peninsula. And whenever my family would come to the city, and yes, you know you're here from San Francisco and the Bay Area when you call it the city. Nowhere else does that but us. When we would come to the city, it was often to come to the theater. And I remember walking as quickly as possible from the parking garage to the theater, scared, and not wanting to slow down or stop because the Tenderloin was scary. And I wish that I could say as an adult I'd slowed down, which I did a bit. But generally, when I think of my times in the past decades of coming to the Tenderloin, it was actually never coming to the Tenderloin. It was always going through the Tenderloin, quickly, in my hermetically sealed cars, gazing through the windows of that pane of glass onto the street and watching each passing year as the streets seemed to get more and more crowded. Now, it'd be disingenuous to say that I had no relationship with the Tenderloin. Our SETA Council had off-site meetings at Larkin Street Youth Service Headquarters to learn about the services they offered of the homeless youth of our city. But those meetings, they were inside. They were led by staff. The youth which we would meet were in the process of treatment, and they were on the inside of the building, and they were not on the street. But then one of our members, Malcolm Gisson, who has been engaged not just on the inside of buildings, but on the outside of buildings, urged and invited us to meet with Del Seymour, the man who has the unofficial title of the mayor of the Tenderloin, who founded Code Tenderloin. Del took me as well as 20 other members of our community through the SETA Council on a tour of the Tenderloin. And it was a tour that did the opposite of what I did as a kid. The opposite of what I've done behind that pane of glass or inside the buildings. The tour was at a slow, meandering pace, storefront by storefront, block by block, engaging with the people of the Tenderloin, the people who are not on the inside of the buildings. And as we moved at our slow pace, truly seeing people, that neighborhood, it became just that, a neighborhood. And the souls of the people, they shone through because suddenly there was no glass separating us. And as Del uncovered the layers of this neighborhood, I could not stop thinking about where we had rolled to in the Torah just that morning, this last Sunday. The same place that we sit tonight in the Torah. We sit at one of the most important moments in all of Jewish history. This week, where we are, is the philosophical foundation for Judaism. Everything that we've read prior to this point in the Torah was not yet about Judaism. We began with creation, then we moved to the flood narrative, and then the Tower of Babel, and then onto Lech Lecha, where Abram is chosen to be the one. But he doesn't do much in Lech Lecha. He begins the journey. But it's not until this week that it's revealed what it actually means to be a Jew. What it actually means to be a blessing. The beginning of this parsha, it's nothing short of shocking. At the beginning of the parsha, in the opening line, we're told that God has appeared before Abraham at his tent. And Abraham's very first reaction to this is to put God in the waiting room. It's crazy. Why? Because he sees that there are 3 men without a home standing at the front of his tent. And then Rashi points out that we're told once that he saw them, the next line is repeated again. It says he sees them, and then he sees them. And it's one thing to glance outside your tent, or to glance through the window of your car, or from your peripheral vision as you rush down the sidewalk. It is wholly different to truly see someone. And because Abraham truly sees them, he makes God wait. And he invites the 3 strangers in. He feeds them. He cares for them. And only then, once their needs are met, when they've been fed and they've been filled, and they continue on their journey, does Abraham turn and give his attention back to God. The foundational idea in Judaism is that our focus should be on others, even if God is waiting for us at the door. Our care for other humans, it takes precedence. And this is not the first time that we see this in our text. The Torah, it's giving example after example of what our priorities should be. This week, we see the 3rd example in the Torah of God's reaction to what is considered sinful human conduct. And in each example, we see the punishment based upon the sin that the humans carried out. The first sin is found in the story of Noah with the flood, where it was determined that the world, it just could not continue, and everyone was going to be wiped out. The second story is the Tower of Babel, where no one is destroyed, but the people are dispersed. And the third is in this week's, in Sodom and Gomorrah, where once again the people are destroyed. Now, according to Rabbi Natan from around the 9th century, he points out definitively that the sin of the flood and Sodom is vastly different than that of the Tower of Babel. In Noah and Sodom, humans are sinning against each other. They hate each other. And because their sin is against another human being, they are wiped out. In the Tower of Babel, their sin is a much lighter offense because they're sinning against God. But they're working together as one in a collective effort. So their sin is dispersion, not destruction. This is a revolutionary philosophical religious idea that how one treats other humans, that it takes precedence over how one treats an external referent in the shape of God. Abraham is the first person in the Torah to have internalized where our priorities should be in the world, and that is why he puts God in the waiting room when there are strangers that come to his home. That's why he makes God wait as he cares for others. It's why God rewards Abraham, because Abraham is caring for other humans. It's in this parsha where Abraham famously yells at God, arguing that God's view of the world is not as just as his own, as he defends the towns of Sodom and Gomorrah, and is then rewarded for yelling at God and arguing with God because it's on behalf of humans. Now Moses, he employs the same technique to defend human beings, and once again, Moses is rewarded. This right here, this week in this parsha, is the foundational idea within Judaism. If you want to see the divine, you're not supposed to look above. You're not supposed to sit behind a pane of glass, but you're actually supposed to look the other in the eye. At the end of our tour with Del Seymour, we gathered in the center of the Tenderloin, in the neighborhood, and we ate pizza, and we debriefed about our experience. And at the end, we had extra pizza. So our set of council co-chairs, Lisa Krim and Guillemette, as well as Elise Blatt, they walked out of the park and into the streets to share our pizza with the people who lived on the streets in this neighborhood. And they were immediately surrounded by members of this community. And after everyone had grabbed a slice, a woman from the group looked them straight in the eye and thanked them and said that they had lifted the spirits of their entire community on that neighborhood on the street. Was it the pizza? Was it the food that Abraham gave to his visitors? Maybe. But I think there's a reason that we're told that Abraham saw them, and then told again that he really saw them. Food, it's just our conduit. Connecting souls to other human beings is the foundation to being the blessing that we were charged with last week. Because caring for others, seeing others, fighting for others, that is the foundation of Jewish thought. Shabbat Shalom.
We are taught that Abraham and Sarah's tent was open on all four sides to welcome the stranger. In that spirit, we'll sing Matovu on page 74, normally done in the morning, but a reference to the tents of the house of Israel. May they always be houses of welcome, houses of refuge.
Please rise and turn to page 282 for the Elenu.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tekiru la'leotze b'reishit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, ve'lo samanu imishbachot la'adon. Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo Echad.
Please be seated. There are stars up above. So far, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. As a congregation, we are remembering those who will be laid to rest after this Shabbat. Bob Liss, Edmund Hillel Portnoy. Remember those who passed away in the last 30 days. Avram Katz, John Davies, Dr. Bill Gottfried, Circa O'Connor, Milton Zerlin, Helen Zarin, Charlene Tuchman, Eugene Talbot. And we remember those whose yahrzeit falls on this Shabbat, the anniversary of their passing. Frida Aronoff, Pinya Bogomluk, Edmund Brown McMahon, Carl Calvin, Mildred Cheveld, Hattie Chait, Mila Chuzhoi, Harry Cohen, Joanne Cohen, Joseph B. Cohen, Micah Davis, Stephen Dobbs, Freda F. Eisenhorn, David Fassberg, Donald Foreman, Sterling M. Friedman, Eli Lewis Geller, Michael Goldberg, Richard Walter Goldman, Gary Gross, Elise Stern-Haas, Joel Herlick, William M. Hootkins, Nathan Kahn, Carolyn Kaufman, Marilyn Koshland, Ann Laxland, Irving Levin, Irving M. Levin, Warner Lewin, Phyllis Loiko, Arnold Miller, Felice Muelter, Herman Rasnick, Edis Robinson, Lee Rosenberg, Susan Rubenstein, Samuel Rudayak, Armand Schachter, Sophie D. Schwabacher, Richard Schenk, Walter Shenson, Betty May Spiegelman, Nathan Spire, Jane Sugarman, Harold Suris, Samuel Sverbalov, Ruth Taxel, Gitya Tsuplivska, Claudia Vilchina, Diane Kraft Ward, Frida Wertheim, Isaac Wertheim, and Rosalind Wolf. If there's someone else who you are remembering who has passed away in the last week, in the last 30 days, in the last year, or this is the yahrzeit, the anniversary of their passing, if you will please share their name when my hand passes over you. Susie Arquilovich and Tia Wheely. And we rise as a community with the mourners and we turn to page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach yotei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaychon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalah u'vizman kari v'imru amen, yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei amaya, Yitbarak v'yishtabach v'tba'ar v'termam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'taleh v'talal shmei d'kudashah bricho, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nachamata, damiran v'yama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mermav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all of Israel, and to all of humanity. And let us all say amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו יעשה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו
honor to invite Willa up to lead us in the Friday night Kiddush. We are on page 4. Got it right here for you, okay? As soon as you're ready, we're going to follow you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'hava ratzon hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh Reshi ki hu yom tehila lamikra'e kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat latzot shecha Be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat Ayim.
Very well done. I'm assuming it was a good virtual sip. So before we do the motzi, we have a few announcements. The first one is please make sure you check our site. We are having an interfaith Thanksgiving breakfast honoring Rita Selma, who's having a little birthday, 100 years old in just a few weeks. Please join us for Hanukkah coming up, as well as we are having the teen-led service. Who here went to the teen-led service at High Holidays? Okay, Alan. Okay, you should have been here on High Holidays for the teen-led service. It's incredible because you get the rabbis off the bima, which is what you're trying to do, and the teens take over and they lead the whole thing. So they're going to be leading us on December 3rd. So please make sure you are here for that. And I think that's what I got for you today. And after we finish Motzi, I'm going to ask everyone to take their prayer books back to the cart to give our staff just a little bit of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Ay, 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 la, la. Ay, 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 la, la. Ay, 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 la, la. Ay, ay, ya, ba, 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 ba. Ay, 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 Shabbos.